I've added a link to the meeting notes. Please add your name as you join. All right, it's currently the top of the hour. People are still joining those, so we'll give it a couple of minutes before I start. Please note the video will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards, but if you're comfortable, please share your video. And as I mentioned, add your name to the notes, and we'll get started in a minute or two. Well, it seems that the join rate is slowing, so let's go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm Jean Mahoney. I'm Director of Communications and Strategy at the RPC. Welcome to our monthly community call. I've provided a link to the meeting notes in the chat. There you'll find links also to our roadmap. Also, the details of what we'll be presenting today. Is there any questions or any changes to the agenda? Any other business anybody wants to add? Nope. All right. All right, let's get started. The first section is on project updates. So last month, the RPC started sending out an intake form when a document enters the queue. The intake form is a short questionnaire asking about style guidance, if there was any areas of controversial text that we should work carefully around, or anything else that we need to know. Since we have started sending these out, we've sent out 19 forms and have received 16 replies, which has been very helpful. On average, documents, we've waited for responses an average of 4.7 days, but more than half of the responses have come in within a day. So Sarah is sending out these forms and processing the responses. Sarah, do you want to add anything?
Sure. I just wanted to say that I've been getting some really good notes on source code types, updated email addresses, and style preferences that will help all the PEs move a lot faster.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so the next project we are also working on is supporting the cram down RFC format. So we have been doing training sessions. We've got our third round of training that will happen this week. And we'll be covering more advanced topics such as nested lists, comments tables, artwork, including SVG, source code, formatting of contributors, and references. These training sessions have been put together and organized by Rebecca, Alana, and Ted. So thank you very much. They are also refining our editing processes and developing the documentation as we're going along on this. So we are pilot testing editing cram down RFC files. And we currently have 3 documents in the queue that we're doing this for. And starting September 1st, we will be accepting cram down RFC file format as for submission. So the way this works will take at least 5 a month. We will ask in the intake form whether the authors would like to participate, and if so, we will edit the document in the markdown format and provide that file at the beginning of Auth 48. And the authors will review the changes made to the markdown file and approve those changes. And these are the content changes. Then we will convert it to RFC XML and then ask the authors to approve the final formats in the XML. So it's a 2-step approval process during Auth 48. We're doing this to support authors who are really the many authors who work in cram down RFC. This also will help authors if they want to incorporate our changes into their GitHub repos, because many authors who work in cram down also use, say, Martin Thompson's repo template. And we hope this makes Auth 48 go more quickly for the authors. I see there's a question from John. John?
Yeah, my apologies for coming in late, especially if you've already answered this question. But this sounds like we are moving away from XML to RFC or RFC XML and at best creating a dual track environment in which some fraction of the IETF works in one style and the other fraction of the IETF works in another style. Is that a good summary?
No, we are still using RFC XML as the publication format. And so we're not moving. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was referring strictly to the authoring process. What you do once you get it is a separate issue. But in terms of the authoring process, it sounds like we are forking the authors so that some significant fraction of them are using Markdown exclusively, and some significant fraction are using RFC XML, and 2 of them are not going to be able to talk to each other or exchange documents and work on documents in a working group during the authoring process because different people understand different tools. Is that a good summary?
Many authors work in cram down RFC.
I understand.
I don't. So the percentage at this point, off the top of my head, I want to say 40 to 50%. I'd have to double check. We've seen. It seems to be. And perhaps the tools team could answer this maybe a little later. I don't want to put them on the spot, but my impression is that working groups gravitate toward using Markdown or using XML. But I am interested to hear if there have been issues with working groups having difficulty because somebody wants to work in Markdown versus XML. Robert?
So what you're describing, well, I've already seen those difficulties, but it's a separate problem. So what you're describing says we're already in that forked situation on a per working group basis. And one of our problems is that since Jay is nodding, one of our problems is that our documentation doesn't really talk about Markdown. It talks exclusively about RFC XML, and that means we've got some work to do on the IETF documentation side. Okay, thank you.
So I'll take my spot in queue. and try to be brief. And John, I'm not trying to be inflammatory here at all. It's not really this call's problem, that's authoring. On the authoring side, ultimately, we're talking about working with words. I understand your point about making it difficult for people to learn each other's tooling, but I think that is going to be a problem that is going to be surmountable by the people in our community.
Let's just say the way you've described it, the way I've described it, this is just become an ISC problem rather than the problem of this list, so I will shut up.
Jay, yes.
Thank you. Also, John, on the point of documentation, when we created the authors.ietf.org website, I corresponded with Carsten, who's on the call, and who felt that it was better that the documentation for Cramdown RFC stayed on the Cramdown RFC site. More recently, we've had more and more calls for us to develop our own documentation around it, and so that is now a possibility, but we haven't yet got to that stage. As the RPC adopt and use Cramdown RFC, they're going to be developing their own specific documentation about it, and some of that may form the core of documentation that we can put on our own site that helps people with that.
Yeah, the concern there, Jay, and I did not, this is not a complaint, it's a concern. But the concern is that I at least have encountered a lot of new people who are writing IDs, trying to write IDs for the first time. And they go to that web page and find the RFC XML guides and materials, which is fine. And then they start developing that way, which is fine. And then they start getting flack from the Cramdown community about why they're using that terrible tool. And again, not a problem for this group, probably a problem for the ISG as things unfold.
All right. Thanks for your comments, John. And we are working on Cramdown RFC documentation internally and have been talking about adding information to authors when we've filled it out some more. All right. Any other comments or questions about RPC working in Marktown? All right, so moving on to a next project that we've been working on, which is looking at our processes and whether.
I'm sorry, I pressed the button too slow. Thank you for making it work on Markdown. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's my comment on Markdown.
You're welcome, and it's your docs that we'll be working on that are in the queue right now. So any feedback from you as we work through the process would be greatly appreciated.
I'll do that, but for now, I'm very glad we're able to do it.
All right, thanks. All right, so on the topic of our processes that we've been doing that perhaps we could have the authors do. One of the things we have been doing is that if an RFC to be obsoletes or updates another RFC, we have been combing the errata reports to see if they've been addressed. This can be time consuming. For instance, 9293 TCP addressed 27 errata reports. So our process going forward is that we will be asking about this in the intake form, asking the authors to confirm that reports have been addressed or perhaps are not applicable. We'll also ask again at all 48 just to ensure that, we've covered all the bases. Sometimes authors address reports that are still open, as in they have not been like verified or marked held for document update. And when we ask at Auth 48, we're hoping to tidy those up, have the ADs go ahead and close them out. All right, so moving on, next topic, so the GitHub roadmap. So the RPC is going to use Git and leverage GitHub for internal version control. So the roadmap covers this. The two big phases are the first phase, we get tooling support, and we move from basically no version control to using Git and GitHub for version control for documents in the queue. The second phase is that we will then open those repos during Auth 48 to use a GitHub-based process for Auth 48 for authors who want this. Note that the email-based Auth 48 process will not be going away because GitHub is not like an official workflow for the streams, but we do want to support authors who work in GitHub as they are a large percentage. So, Rich, you popped in and popped out. Did you have a comment? Oh, okay. I saw your hand raised and then it went down. So we're going to be meeting in mid-September to a working meeting to talk about this, the roadmap and some implementation details. I'm organizing that so I'll let y'all know when that meeting is scheduled. All right, Eric.
Yeah, thank you for organizing that. I look forward to it. One thing that would be helpful, I think, would be to have a little more sense of the timelines. So much of those things say to do. And as you can imagine, while I'm excited to see the RPC using Git internally, what actually matters to me is being able to use Git myself. And so if that is like, a timeline that extends in the infinite future, as opposed to time that is very short, I have different opinions about this topic. So it'd be great if I think by the time we had that meeting, you guys had a better sense of the timeline.
All right. Noted. Yes, thanks. Okay, so next topics, tooling. The tools team is working on a new queue management system for us. This is known as Purple. Recently, they've been working on document labels and also the import of editor assignments. The next big tool they've been working on is the new rfceditor.org website, also known as RED. And I will be hosting a demonstration of this at the end of this meeting, if time allows. So stick around for that. All right, so moving on to document work updates and hot topics. So there's a note in the agenda about the states that a document moves through for people who may not be that familiar with the states, and also to explain why you will see the document listed several times in the meeting notes. I did want to highlight, so in July, the RPC published RFC 9796, which is on SIP call info parameters for rich call data. What happened during this original publication was that the not prepped files were placed in on the public website rather than the prepped files. So this was like an incomplete publication. We recognized this issue and we placed the prepped files out onto the website. This was announced on IETF announce and also RFC dist. So some details are there. We will also be adding a note in the document's history on the history tab and data tracker for it. So we apologize for that. This is the first time that has happened with, so prepped files are a V3, RFC XML V3 thing. And so this is the first time it's happened. And hopefully the last time it's happened. All right, moving on to team updates. Lynn.
Can you hear me? Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't have too much to say. You know, I've listed what I'm working on there. 4 documents are in a cluster, and everybody in the RPC will attest that clusters are challenging in and of themselves. And that's about all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Alana.
Hi, so I have 1 document for edit right now. It's from cluster C430. I also have 4 documents in Auth48 from C530. And then in terms of stuff that I've completed, I've finished edit and moved on to RFC editor, 4 docs total, 3 of which from cluster C405. And then I've moved 4 docs from Auth48 to be prepped for pub. 2 are from C527. Those 2 are published, and 2 are from C506. Those are being prepped right now. And that's it.
Thank you, Alana. Madison?
Hi, everybody. You can see what I'm currently working on. I have one that is currently going through edit. It's about 73 pages long. I have one in Auth48, and then I'm continuing to manage errata as needed. For the completed work that I have for this month, I moved a document to RFC editor state, and then I also completed Auth48 for a document that has been published recently. And then I also included the statistics for the July errata that I've been managing and responding to. If you're curious, please feel free to look at those. And that's it for me.
Great. Thank you, Madison. Sarah?
Hi again. So a list of what I'm currently waiting on from authors or ADs. I've got 2 intake forms that are pending responses, and then I have some pending AD approvals that are waiting new draft versions. And I'm currently working on 1 in Auth48. I'm pre-editing and formatting 2. And later today, I will be sending an intake email for, you can see the draft string there. I won't read it for you. But I've moved 4 documents from edit to RFC editor, completed Auth48, and passed along 3 for publication. And I've added 29 drafts to the queue. I sent 19 intake form emails and processed 16. And I've pre-edited and formatted 21 drafts the past 2 months. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. See, you have your hand up.
Quick question for Sarah. When you're ingesting and you need to get your hands on the bits from the authors, particularly if the bits aren't being passed directly from the ID repository, if the authors have modified the bits, do you have a rough feel for, is that something that takes like a day's round trip time or a week's round trip time? How quickly are authors responsive on giving you those bits?
On the intake form or for?
Not on the form, the content of the document.
I'm not sure for what stage.
At their very beginning, something's entering the queue.
And we don't have, right, we don't have the files, so you ask the authors for the file.
Oh, for a source file?
Yeah.
Gotcha. My apologies. It varies significantly. It can be within the day, and sometimes I need to send a weekly reminder on that one.
Okay, so it can extend multiple weeks then. All right, thank you.
All right, Rebecca.
Hello, everyone. I'm currently working on one document for RFC Editor Check. I just started it yesterday, and after that, I'll move on to editing a different document. I have one in Auth 48, and in the past month, I've completed both edit and RFC Editor checks for 4 documents, completed just the RFC Editor checks for 2 additional documents, and I've completed Auth 48 for 3 documents. They're all in Auth 48 done right now. One of them I'm doing the final checks for today. So all 3 of those should be published soon. Thank you.
Thanks. Megan.
Yeah, hi. I have a cluster of 4 documents that I am just picking up to start editing on. And then I have another cluster that is currently in Auth 48, but I did all of the edit through Auth 48 stages and am actively working on 2 of those in Auth 48. The other is Auth 48 done, just waiting. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Megan. Kaylin.
Hi, everyone. I currently have 2 documents in edit. That's for C542. One document in Auth 48, which is a Yang document, which can come with some extra checks and can take a little longer. Completed edit on 4 documents and then passed along 1 document for publication with the help of another editor. So that's all for me.
Thanks. Ted?
Yeah. I have the following 6 drafts in reference review right now. I'm currently on 6991 bis. It should be done with that one later today or tomorrow. Since the last community call, I've reviewed references and links for 27 drafts. And then beyond that, some other reference work I'm looking at is there was an issue open on the BibXML service GitHub repository about potentially adding web hypertext application technology working group, or what WEG working group living standards to the BibXML database. So I'm just looking into that to see if it's possible to do that. I'll probably be reaching out to what WEG to see if they have a database or something like that we can pull from. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks. Sandy?
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I was having a fight with the mute button. I have a few documents from C405 in RFC Editor. And just to note, cluster 405 was actually a 10 document cluster, and we've kind of broken it into 2 subclusters. So one that's like TSVWG related, and then one that's the I2 NSF documents, so that they can move separately, so they move faster. And the only other thing I wanted to note was for the TSVWG document, UDP options document, there was no source file submitted with that one. And so instead of using ID to XML, which would try to convert the text file into XML, we actually tested it as converting it to Cramdown first and then using that to convert it to XML. I think it gives us much better XML and is not too hard to convert to Cramdown. But it was a good practice document for our purposes because it had a lot of lists and tables and other things that needed to be converted. So it was a good use case. Other than that, there's nothing outstanding about the other stuff I've been working on.
All right, thanks. Karen?
Everyone. I'm currently working on one document for RE check. It's 9842. It's part of C509, and I also have RFC 9843, which is part of a cluster in Auth 48. I've completed 2 documents for RE check and 2 documents that are part of cluster for edit. And for RFC 9839, edited that one through Auth 48 and sent it to pub. For that document, it was actually my first document with emojis in it. It had a black heart and a question mark symbol, and they were both black and white and used as examples in the running text. So they were enclosed with the T tag. The output files looked good, and there were no issues when we were running V3. And there was also some ABNF in that doc, and there were no issues with that either. So it's kind of a fun doc to work on. And then I helped a few authors or editors with their Auth 48s, and that's about it for me.
All right, thank you. Sandy, do you want to go over the stats in the FYI section?
Sure. I think the only thing worth mentioning is current average processing time is 12.6 weeks, which means from the time a document enters the queue until it hits Auth 48, which is slightly down from 13 weeks when we met last time. So hopefully a slight downward trend. We'll see if it continues, but hopefully.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Any other business? All right, so I would like to show off Red. Red is the new RFC editor website that's under development. It's currently at a staging location that is not generally available yet. So we hope to have set up at the Montreal meeting a laptop for people to poke at it. But for right now, let me give you a preview. Let's see. I want to share my screen. This will get funky. Share this window. I love this recursion. I'm just going to enjoy that for a second. All right. And then can people see this? You'll have to say something because I can't see y'all as I'm looking at this.
Yep. We can
All
see
right.
it.
Cool. So this is the new rfceditor.org website. We have its focus is for readers who may not know much about RFCs. So we've got easily accessible information about what is an RFC, how to read them, explaining what errata reports are, explaining the RFC editor. We have, you can click it to see list of standards. Note how fast that is. So, standards, best current practices, information on how to download, links to start participating in the streams. So also would like to show off the search functionality here. So also very fast. Note here that by default, we are hiding obsolete RFCs. You can quickly filter these by status. So here, I'm going to hide the obsoleted, but still, I've selected Internet Standard. We can go and select areas, working groups, authors. Another way to display it, readers can select how much information they want to see. If they want more compact results, these buttons off to the right change the presentation here. You can also show more results per page. And so let's take a look at one of these documents. So this is an info page, right? So RFCs, the URLs given in the references point to info pages currently in production. All you get to see is the abstract and metadata. New info pages will give you all the text. Have the contents off on the right, along with the tab about this RFC. This tab is being worked on It is, we'll be adding links to the presentation formats, the PDF, the text, the HTML format that you're familiar with. It will also show errata reports if there are any. Currently, the errata data is not hooked up. So this website is currently drawing data from Data Tracker and not from the RFC editor database. It is doing, I think, very well with that. A fun thing I want to show off is that we now have previews, tooltip previews. So, oh, sorry, just noticed that that's actually not as clear as it should be. But there it goes. That's a better one. So you can see information about the RFC, its title, and a little bit of its abstract. The website is also designed for mobile devices, and I'll just kind of fake it here. I don't know if this will work well, but here I am making it a lot smaller. And
it's working fine.
Okay, and then to see the tabs, there's right here this info button on the side. Hide it again. Another thing I want to demonstrate is that search is full text. So if I could type, for instance, there are 5 RFCs that mention sugar. That's for whatever reason they have, I want to see. Oh, all right. Take a look here. This is an older RFC. This is what one of the older RFCs looks like. And tools tips work here also. So where, Actually, I didn't find sugar in that RFC, so maybe this was a bad example.
So I think that there's type sense will catch words that are very close to that word, and I think
to
matching SAGAR.
So you say SAGAR?
Is that an author? That occurred in that doc.
Okay.
One of the author names.
Place. Yes, there it is. All right. So the information about like what is an RFC is stored in GitHub. These are markdown pages. So it will allow us to update this information quickly. And hope you're noticing how responsive this this site is. So, and I think it looks very nice. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Anybody have any comments or questions?
There's one in the chat.
If I search by number and that RFC is obsoleted, and yes, it actually won't. Let me double check this, because the original behavior was you search for an obsoleted RFC, it would say no results and you would have to click. But I think, well, what I've requested is that even if it's obsoleted, if somebody is searching for a specific RFC, it needs to be shown. So I can, shall I?
That's my intuition too. I mean, no, I mean, I just put it in the chat because I figured this is one of these things that's like, you know, that like a real tester will find, you know, I mentioned it up front. This looks fantastic, like super fast. I'm really pleased how fast this is. I mean, this is great. Is a lot of being on client side? How much is client side? How much is server side?
It's most of it is actually server side. It's pre-rendered, mostly flat. Mm-hmm. The reasoning behind that is the search engine, providing information to the search engines.
Right.
So the actual rendering layout, I mean, that's all clearly client side. You could see it acting reactively. So
yeah, I think the question I meant to be asking, I think, was is how much of the system is scalable just by pouring money on it? Like, you know, is it because if it's like basically static files, then we could just be like, hey, Cloudflare, take more money and it'll be faster, right?
Yes.
That was a question I meant to be asking.
Yeah, this thing is designed to live in a modern CDN universe.
Awesome. Well, this is great. Thank you for showing this. I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to trying it, and I'm sure I'll send you a bunch of nitpicky comments, which you should read as, you know, you never find things until people try to test them, not as it's not good.
Well, Sarah, since you're on screen already, trying to demo, especially when we're pushing a screen share through something like Metaco, showing mobile, trying to use the browser mechanics for pretend you're an iPhone ends up eating a lot of the available screen real estate, which is why she was taking the path of just resizing the window. Yeah, I mean, that was totally fine. I just thought I'd mention it in case you hadn't seen that feature. It's a comment. If you know of a way to tell it, hey, you're an iPad now, where it doesn't then frame the window with a bunch of information about what kind of iPad it is. I fear I don't. Yeah. I can ask, but I fear I don't. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, anything else? All right, everybody, thank you for your time. John.
Yeah, I want to come back if I made a couple of more of the implications of the questions I was asking earlier, which I think are RPC and tools implications rather than IETF implications. Suppose 5 years from now, and there's a document which was prepared and crammed down, and then converted to RFC XML by the RFC, and the RFC XML file is the one which ends up in the archives and publicly available. Now somebody comes along and needs to do an update to that document or a replacement of that document. Do you save the last crammed down version for availability so it can be available? Or is there going to be a RFC XML to cram down tool?
Maybe both. We're in the current Carson's implementation of cram down RFC. The XML that it presents has a UU encoded version of the cram down that was fed into it that is stored in the document. So at the moment, drafts that are prepared with that tool that have XML submitted to the ID repository have embedded in them a copy of the cram down that that XML was derived from. We're talking about what we would do for the things that are going through the RFC production, if we would use a similar mechanic, some other mechanic. But the use case is understood, knowing that somebody would want to get back to, hey, I was working at this point and this is my tool chain. Can I work with something that was close to the tool chain I was working with when I handed this to you? Is something that we are keeping an eye on addressing. Separately, there is I want to work in a markdown-like environment, and here's this XML thing, and it has never been in anything but XML. Can you hand me some markdown to work with it, please? It's been asked for a few times. We might want to work on it directly. I don't know if we can get to cram down that would be semantically richer than what we would get Right now, when people ask for it, we say render the text, touch the text until it looks enough like Markdown that it flies, and move on from there. So
I am less concerned about what the answers are than that set of issues has been known and flagged. And you just answered that question with a yes. Completely unrelated question. Again, if you covered this before I got on the call, my apologies. You're issuing RFCs now in the mid 9800 range. Is the 5-digit problem thoroughly under control at this point? Do all the tools that anybody sees?
yeah, I'll field this one too. We are running a race. We understand the 5-digit problem. We know what things need to be replaced, and we are working with a great deal of focus on exactly those problems.
Good. I don't need to tell you that with the current issue numbers that we are well under 200 RFCs at beyond catastrophe if you're not ready. So
yeah, we're still
spring 2026 is when we hit RFC 10K.
You hope.
Yeah,
With a sudden burst of activity somewhere, that could be even sooner. But as I said, flagging issues, not complaining. Thanks very much.
I did. Jean is underselling the work she's done. She's done some significant work looking at this, and what the rate of growth or publication of them really is quite a static thing. So even with bursts and stuff, it still comes out at the same rate. Yeah, I'm very confident in the work that Jean's done around this.
Good, thank you.
so just as an entertaining aside for looking at what's going to break, there are a bunch of the rest of the world's going to have to adjust, and they've started adjusting already to not expecting there to be leading zeros between RFC and some number that's less than 1,000. So
Yep. All right. Anything else? Any ideas for celebrating RFC 10K when it rolls around? And send it to RFC Interest if you think of anything. Oh, Paul.
Please don't have it be an April Fool's one.
All right. Noted. Okay, thanks everyone. Catch you next time.
Thanks for hosting, Jean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.